we want it just yet. It's not sounding very good. You've got all the tracks recorded, but things are just not sounding good. The guitar is too loud. The bass is blending in with the vocals. The vocals are too low. I can't hear what you're saying. There's nothing in there to draw people into the song. It's not popping. You've got a couple problems, but you probably have a muddy mix. And let's see what we can do about that.
1942, ain't nothing like the sky when you're flying in the blue. Miles from...
It's okay, we've all been there. Now let's see what we can do about it. Let's tighten up that mix. Now real quick, what is mixing? Mixing is the phase after the recording phase where you're going to make changes to each individual track that you recorded in order to make all those tracks combined with the other tracks to make your song sound as good as it can be.
There's 1,000 feet to 1942. When I'm high in the sky, girl, all I see is you.
So what are you going to do to a track in the mixing phase? You're going to do volume automation. Maybe your guitar track has a piece of it that's a bit too loud. You want to bring it down a little bit.
With the pocket singing cheer for the mission, I left her with the locket and told her just to kiss her.
Automate it. Volume automation. Also, stereo panning. This is when you're going to want to make the choices as to where you want to place in the left or the right channel your tracks. You put it dead in the center or left or right. Now maybe you might find that the hi-hat and the acoustic sound good when they're both mixed to the right. That's my opinion.
Down the South Texas.
What else will you do when you're mixing? Well, you'll also add equalization into the individual tracks if you choose. Perhaps it's your opinion that the kick drum sounds a little better when it's EQ'd a bit high. You get a little more of a punch. You get a little more of that, Bonnie Raitt, early 90s country snap pop.
We're miles from God, devil at the boot. Just a man in green and his white parachute.
As well as adding effects to each individual track if you choose, a little reverb, a little compression. It's a lot to get into right now, but all of these things you'll do and more when you begin to mix. All right, y'all, let's get to the good stuff. What is the first step you can take to getting you a better mix and de-muddying your mix? In my opinion, I know you don't want to hear this. In my opinion, the first step you should consider would be to cut out every non-essential element in your project.
People with the pockets singing cheer for the mission. I left her with the locket and told her just to kiss her. Down again.
Listen to me. In music, less is more. Now, what's essential and what's not essential? Well, do you have a guitar melody going on at the same time as a piano melody? In your left channel, and you can't even make out either one because they're both going on simultaneously. You're going to have to make a choice. Now, maybe your best friend can tell you which one sucks the least. Maybe you have a relative that can give you a straight answer. But in order to move forward with your project, you have all of these things that just seem so insurmountable. The most simple thing you can do to take the next step forward in completing your song would be to just cut out all of the non-essential parts and leave yourself with the good bare bones, and that'll just simplify the process moving forward.
Down the South Texas, every night I dream of your Sunday kissing. Every horse on the farm jumping
if you choose to delete some of the elements you've come to decide are non-essential, will you have to go back and add some instrumentation? Yes, it's quite possible that you will, but will you be left with the remnants of the good parts of the things, of the tracks that weren't exactly up to snuff? Maybe there were two notes that sounded kind of nice. Those things will be in your head, and you go back and you add the instrumentation, and perhaps you just go back and add those two notes. And I'll add that that's a positive thing regarding the deletion of non-essential tracks. You listen to them, and like I said, you just find what works and you keep it in there. You find what doesn't work, you take it out, and you move forward to the next step in finishing your project. Okay, y'all, now what's another reason your mix might sound a bit muddy? Let's review the choices you made in panning, your stereo panning options, left and right. Now, what were your instruments and how did you pan them? Hard left, hard right, somewhere in the center. Now, this is open for debate. A lot of people like to do a lot of different things. It's to my understanding that the Beatles said we're just going to pan hard left or hard right. They didn't worry about doing 75% in between center and right. What were your choices? Did you have the hi-hat and did you have a distorted guitar going on the right channel? Maybe you didn't even need the distorted guitar on the right channel when you had a hi-hat going on at the same time. Just something to think about. On your left channel, did you have three tracks still toppling over each other? Even though you already cut out the non-essential elements, you might need to cut out some more crap. I really do wish I had the surefire answer for how we all should be panning, but it's just something you're gonna have to go back and experiment with and get more experience with it and understand what systems work for you. But it's a crucial part, if not one of the most important parts of getting a good mix, is getting an understanding of what instruments sound good panned which way. Now, I'm not going to leave you hanging like that. Let me give you a couple pointers of what I think is a good starting place for how you should be panning. I usually just pan the bass track dead center. I put the snare track dead center. I put the kick drum dead center. I put the meat and potatoes of the drums in the center. I put the hi-hats on the right or left. I like to put the acoustic guitars on the same channel as the hi-hats because I think the acoustic guitars and the hi-hats sound nice together. You might have to put the crash on the opposite side, but I like to put the main percussive instruments, bass, snare, dead center. I like hi-hats and acoustic guitars on the same channel. Now, the more time you spend experimenting with panning and gaining more experience, you'll come to find out other combinations of instruments that do sound good when on the same channel because of their respective frequencies, and they don't topple over each other or take a little away from one another. And that, in a nutshell, is what we're trying to accomplish with the mixing process. We want all the tracks to coincide with each other for the very best possible final mix and the very best listening experience at the end of a project.
Here comes the job for tomorrow on this lost highway.
The subject of panning, and I want to introduce to you the third thing that you can add to your demuddying journey, and that would be to utilize something called cross fading. Now, cross fading, to summarize, is when you have one track being lowered while another track is being amplified, and this reduces clutter. In this example, you have a guitar and a piano on the left channel. Now, I want the most important aspects to shine the brightest, right? That's why we're doing all this. And that's why when the good guitar solo is done, it's going to get out of the picture, and the nice piano melody is going to come into the picture, so all you're hearing is the best musically that I have to offer you at that moment. And these two will coincide for the shortest period until one of them takes the importance and takes the listener's ear away from the other thing.
Down in line, we built this a church way down in South Texas. In the morning, I'm beholden to your love. The fear of God on the enemy as I try to sweep the devil out from these streets. I've been trying to grip the devil, for he catches me. So all my love, send it down to South Texas every night.
And to add, crossfading is simply another way of cutting non-essential elements from your mix. In music, less is more. Now, I really hope from your first mix, after reducing the non-essential elements and the musical pieces that are simply not up to snuff, after experimenting with different panning methods and different pairings and different automation settings, and utilizing crossfading, and even more so reducing clutter, your mix is at a better place now, and you're more confident and comfortable making the next step to completing your song.